Can you clarify exactly the engine situation? Is there any development of the engine separately happening at Milton Keynes, or is it purely a customer engine?
It is an engine that will be identical to that of the Renault Works team.
Yeah.
All bar the name.
Mm-hmm.
So the technical specification and operation of the engine will be identical to that of the Renault Works team. It will just be badged as a Tag Heuer.
Yeah.
As a white label engine.
Have you noticed any difference in that relationship with Renault since they've done the constructor status? Has anything changed?
I think that the positive thing is that by Renault committing to Formula One, they're committing hopefully the necessary wherewithal to the budgets to enable themselves to be competitive. Now, to be competitive in Formula One, you need a competitive engine, and there seems to be changes afoot to embrace change and development that will hopefully see the power unit progress during the course of the year.
Were there any discussions about you possibly running the Alpine brand?
No.
Is that something that you would have been interested in?
It was never on the agenda, so we had the opportunity to retain the engine as a white label engine. We've entered into an exciting new partnership with Tag Heuer. Obviously been with another team for many years, and there was an ideal opportunity to brand that engine, something that they'd done very successfully before, and was a great marketing opportunity for both sides.
Since it became clear that you will be winning next year, has anything changed in the race? Things improved? You got more assurances from them that it's going to be better this year?
I get the feeling that they have a much better idea of where their performance deficiency has been and what they need to do to address that. There seems to be a lot more confidence and focus, and I think with a bit of restructuring that they've done there, they've got some quality consultants in there now as well with plenty of experience. They've got Bob Bell back involved, who obviously brings a lot of experience from Mercedes-Benz and obviously from a previous successful stint at Renault. So I think they're addressing the right areas.
In view of the impression that it looks like Mercedes will be in front again, what would you be satisfied with at the end of this year?
I think progress. We're going into the year, hopeful that we can make progress from where we were in Abu Dhabi, and I think it'll be a year of two halves. I think the second half will be more competitive for us than the first half, for example, teams like Toro Rosso are going to make a big performance jump just by the change of power unit that they've adopted for this year. So, but we're expecting steps to be made throughout the year.
So do you expect the 2015 Ferrari power unit to be more powerful than your 2016 power unit?
To start the year, yes, but I think that will change. Well, that hopefully will change during the course of the year.
What kind of stakes are you expecting with Renault this year? Helmut Marko said that they should treat you over their own teams, and we should treat you like a works team still. Do you think that will continue? Or?
I think that we will get the same equipment as Renault supply. They were always extremely fair. Let's not forget we've had a relationship with Renault since 2006 when they had their own works team, and of course we won our first World Championship when they still had their own team in Formula One. So I've got no doubt that we'll get the same level of support and equipment as the works team. I think the bigger question is how does that stack up against their competitors. So that's going to be the key question.
From a chassis point of view, last year you started slightly on the back foot with it, didn't get everything out of it. What were the reasons for that, and is that something you're confident won't happen?
I think there was a regulation change around the front nose area of the car that had quite a bigger impact than we perhaps anticipated. We managed to sort that out, and certainly during the second half of the year we had a very strong chassis. There hasn't been any regulation changes of note over the winter, and the chassis guys have obviously worked tremendously hard to try and make some gains on the chassis side as we head towards the first race. So and the group as a whole is working tremendously well. And I think again we'll see constant, consistent progress throughout the year.
Is there much pressure from within Red Bull to get Max Verstappen into the senior team, as it were, before he's snatched away by one of your rivals?
Not really. I mean, we're very comfortable with where our situation is with the drivers at the moment. We're in a situation where we've got 4 really competitive drivers. We're in a luxury position, so drivers are the least of our issues.
Last year was obviously one of the toughest seasons. What are your first kind of regard for?
I think that we're going back to basically with a livery that we've unveiled here today. It's a clean sheet of paper. It's a strong livery. It's a new beginning, for the team as we head into the next phase of our, the next cycle of the evolution of Red Bull. And I think that last year was a tough year. We emerged from that, and it feels like we're picking momentum. There's confidence in the factory and determination to get back into a competitive situation.
Who's the main rival for Red Bull this year? It's Renault because you have the same engine, or maybe you are targeting Mercedes. Do you think it's possible to beat Mercedes?
Well, they're all rivals. Mercedes will set the benchmark, and we then will clearly have to, try and get as close to that as we can. That's the benchmark, and we want to reduce the gap rather than for it to grow.
Do you expect the gap to be smaller this year than it was last year to Mercedes? From the field as a whole?
One would hope so, that there will be convergence, but because the engine regulations are still pretty immature, you don't know what, sitting here today, we don't know what gains Mercedes have made, or Ferrari, or even Honda. We know what Renault have made now and what they have in the pipeline, but how that compares, that's for you guys to find out.
Do you expect to still be using this engine in 17 and beyond? Or?
Well, we have a contract at the end of 16, and then everything's open, 17 and beyond. So I'm sure we'll monitor the situation with interest and of how the engine is developing and what the other options are.
Yeah, just following on from that, obviously last year there were some quick threats from your boss with both teams. Do you see that the fact that your engine deal will be up at the end of this year means it's easier to look to the future for the team, or does that actually give it another window where we could see a similar scenario unfold?
We're committed to trying to find a solution to get ourselves into a competitive position, and I think what's very interesting is to see what steps are the FIA taking. There were 3 things on their agenda. One was price, for the independent teams, because it's crazy that we have engines costing up to 30 million euros. Second is the convergence of performance, because again, for the FIA and the promoter to have huge disparity in performance doesn't make for a healthy, and competitive racing. And thirdly, the obligation to supply. Now, the manufacturers have gone away to work collectively on that, and will be presenting their solution that they collectively have come up with to the FIA next week.
Last year, Adrian was planning to step back from the team, and it looks like he got drawn back into the development of the car through the year. Was that the case, and how's his role going to vary this year?
Well, Adrian obviously took on a couple of other projects, last year, and it worked very well as he took a step back from the day-to-day operation and technical management of the technical team. He has continued to be involved in a similar way with RB11, the concept of the car and having that vast amount of experience to draw upon, with the technical team really gaining in confidence and growing in experience, and his role will work in a very, very similar way for the 2016 year.
Another technical but very odd question I'm getting asked so many times on Twitter. You've changed to matte paint.
Yep.
Does that have any influence on aerodynamics? Has that been signed off by all the guys?
We've made sure that it got tested rigorously.
Does it have a positive impact, or?
It's absolutely neutral.
It's funny because everyone's asked the same. Christian, there's been a lot of talk on social media about F1 losing its connection with fans. You can see great examples of Red Bull making an effort with fan engagement on Twitter and your thing at the Carnaby Street tonight.
Yeah.
what do you think both you as individuals, the drivers and the team can do to make that connection back with the fans?
Well, we have to engage more in a world that is evolving. Formula One has to evolve, and activities that we've undertaken over the last few weeks, when there has been no Formula One activity, we've driven up a snow slope and we've taken on a rugby team, in a scrum, and Red Bull is not afraid to do things differently, and we're all about wanting to engage with the fans. We have one of the biggest followings in social media, and that's crucial for us and for the sport, moving forward.
Well, in your opinion, will be Haas this year? It will be like HRT, like Caterham, like Force India at the beginning, that they will start far back, or maybe they will come because of the connections with Ferrari to the middle of the field.
I think they'll be respectable. I expect them to be. They're going to have a solid basis. They've got a sensible budget. They've got some experienced people running the team, so there's no reason to expect they won't be in a respectable position.
Just bring you back to things that would attract fans again. We were looking at 2017 regs, trying to make more aggressive, quicker cars, and it looks like the teams can't agree on that. I mean, are we at the point now where it needs to be deferred to 2018 to make this decision right?
No. We should not miss the opportunity for 17, and I think we just need some strong leadership to decide what those rules are going to be. And you're never going to achieve through consensus the right situation.
So what would the deadline be for those regulations to be determined? Any thoughts on that? But for you as a team, could it go longer?
Well, no. There's a governance that stipulates that must be decided by the end of the month.
Any thoughts on the halo and what's the view of the strategy?
Obviously, head protection is crucial. Red Bull is making another submission for a canopy that we believe would be a safer option.
What does that mean?
But it needs to be. It's more of a canopy than a halo. But it obviously needs to be tested, which